Okay, the next thing I'm going to talk to you about is no, I'm not going to talk about anything like what are you open to? I'm not open. I am very closed. I am so closed that a long time ago, my cottage had shutters, and then the shutters were bolted shut. And then I had a bricklayer come and put bricks all around the outside of my wooden cottage. And then after that, I had a corbomite dome put over top of the bricked in cottage. So I have basically living under a dome. And that is how I like it because I don't want anything to come in or out. It is a non permeable membrane. Now, someone wants to know why, and I'm going to say, none of your business. Let's continue. Why did we get into this topic? It's mostly just because my fibromyalgia is acting up, and it is coming to me from people who have managed to penetrate my impermeable dome, my layer of bricks, and my wooden cottage walls. And they have gotten in and they have gotten at me and they are dumping barrels and barrels and barrels of what we call karmic Miranda. Everyone knows what karma is. And Miranda was a character from one of the Shakespeare plays. But in this particular connotation of Miranda, it has more to do with Miranda rights that you have in the United States, which is the right to shut your mouth when you're being interrogated. So the karmic Miranda that was dumped into me by people hurts. Is it my karma? No, it's karma that came from another place altogether. And they found so much of it in their own backyard and front yard and everywhere on the roof, underground in tunnels. They found it everywhere. Some was in barrels, some was in boxes, some was they had to wipe it up with rags, and they sent it all to me and they stuck it in my body. And that is why today I have symptoms of what I think is fibromyalgia, but it is all karmic Miranda, and it is not mine. And while it is in my body, we used to think it was processing and becoming non-toxic, but overall, it was a foolish idea. Who brought this stuff? It was they used to say they were elves and fairies, but no, I don't think that's what they were. But that's what they used to say they were, and that's where they said it came from. And so that's why I don't like anyone else coming in, because I've already got a very full plate of karmic Miranda that hurts. Why would anyone give me their karma, their toxic karma? Mostly because they could. What happened to my karma? Well, the story of karma is just like the story of your mind. You work on cleaning your own personal karma, so it comes into balance at zero, just like you work on cleaning your mind. So instead of you having racing thoughts and sluggish thoughts and drive you crazy thoughts, endless thinking, you can come to peace in your mind. But you, according to the blanket analogy of the movie I Heart Huckabees that was given to us by the character played by Dustin Hoffman, you are not separate. And the old saying is, a man is not an island. So, which means once you have peace in your head and you have balanced your karma, then you have the connection to everything else. And if everything else is not balanced at zero and empty-mindedness, it's going to leak into your clean cottage. It's going to leak in by the process in science is called diffusion, something that, or nature abhors a vacuum. So if you've made a vacuum in your head and your body, then stuff is going to diffuse into you. And that is how it stands. How are you ever going to survive? The answer is, well, if enough of you balance out your personal karma to zero and you clean up your mind so you have no thought forms roosting in your noggin, everyone does this, then there is no collective karma for anyone to have to deal with, karma Miranda, and there are no outstanding thought forms that need to be disarmed, disabled, and dematerialized. But at the present time on planet Earth, we are nowhere near that state, so one acts like a vacuum and vacuums up all kinds of dirt because other people have not completed their task. And once you've completed your task, you discover that's only one task. And does it ever end? I don't think so. You can run, you can hide, but other people's karma is going to be claimed by you because they're going to say, well, you and I are a collective, so you have collective karma. And you're going to, what? I never met you before. And they're going to say, irregardless. And I know I said that incorrect. So in English, we say sick, S-I-C, which means I said it on purpose. Irregardless, I'm here now, and we are now Pooh's company. And I'm terribly sorry, but you're going to take on some of my karma because you're here. You thought I was going to say something else? So did someone else. I can hear them by telepathy. They thought I was going to say something else. But this person doesn't want to be talked about at the current time. So I'm not giving any words. But please tune in again. Please subscribe and share because perhaps at some point in time, this person will want me to do a full segment on them and my experiences with this particular person. Are they real? Yes. And how are they labeled generally when it comes to people? They're usually labeled as a mythological character. And I'm going to tell you that Rumpelstiltskin, who is a mythological character, is a real person. So everything that you've labeled fiction and mythological, I'm terribly sorry, but they are real and they exist. And I can tell you, because it's been my personal experience, that they are indeed real. So you're going to have to go back to your 9th grade English teacher and tell her or him or it. I think it would be nice to have a cat as an English teacher. The Cheshire Cat, smiling, to teach you English, literature. And you can say, I know you've told me that this is a fiction or this is a mythological, but I'm going to tell you it's real. Someone wants me to talk about archetypical characters, and I don't know anything about archetypes. Archetypes. I don't know anything about Carl Jung. I don't know anything about Sigmund Freud. And I especially don't know anything about Shakespeare. And I don't know anything about Miranda, although she was mentioned to me in a writing by E. Haleakala Hugh Len of Hawaii, who did like poetry, and apparently he liked the sonnets of Shakespeare. E. Haleakala Hugh Len apparently is fully retired now, but his associate is still around and advertising continually on every social media thing that I ever come to. And he claims to be a doctor. I'm sure he is not a doctor, not a medical doctor. Is he a doctor of philosophy or a doctor of literature? I doubt it. He is probably best known as being a doctor of advertising, because he really loves to do advertising. And he is a doctor of collecting cash. In other words, he is a snake oil salesman, and the man himself is, I said, he is a doctor of narcissism. And I'm not going to tell you his name today, but if you subscribe and tune in again another day, you might hear me talk about this particular associate of E. Haleakala, Hugh Len. I have actually no connection to these two people. No connection whatsoever. If you asked them who I was, they would say, I have no idea. And I like it that way. I like to be pretty much anonymous. And even though I talk about these people as if I'm quite familiar with them, I have no idea what they're really like behind the mask that they present to the world for the purposes of making cash money. They are known as stock characters, which I just looked up on Wikipedia. A stock character is someone you would recognize right away, and you don't have to know the full background of the person. You just see the person and you know everything about them. And the reason that we have stock characters is because, like if you're watching a movie that's 2 hours long, and a lot of times they're not even 2 hours, if they gave you the full life story of every character presented to you, you'd never make a 2-hour movie. So they are going to use what are known as stereotypes. Which might come in the form of the way they talk, the clothes they wear, their attitudes, perhaps the way they move. And very quickly, you can guess the stereotype, and the movie can proceed very quickly. And humans are very good at making snap judgments based upon stereotypes. You're unconscious of this as a child until you come to perhaps an English literature class or a drama class or perhaps a psychology task. I don't know why they don't teach psychology in high school. Generally speaking, at least for me, it didn't happen until first year of college. And that's incorrect because in Canada, a college wouldn't really take... a college is a trade school and a university is not a trade school. And in the United States, they seem to think that a college is a university, but it's not in Canada. They're two separate things. So a psychology course is pretty much going to be given in first year university. And it should be taught in high school because everyone needs to know a year-long course in psychology so that they're not unconscious of things like stereotypes and projections and repressions and Festinger and learned helplessness. Oh dear, I've gone over 15 minutes, which means that the people on Instagram TV cannot watch this video because you're just listened to 15 minutes of me so far, and they clipped me at 14 minutes, 97 seconds or something. There's an endless number of things that you can click on Wikipedia, and my characters that talk to me by telepathy quite often love story time. And when we get into things like books and Wikipedia, we could spend all day clicking and clicking and clicking. But I will tell you that the thing that I clicked on the other day, or I typed it in for Wikipedia, and it sat there because I got busy doing a million other things. And lo and behold, when I went to go and play some music, I found I've got so many of these old phones lying around. They're wonderful. You know, people get a new phone every 3 years, and the old phone still works, so you can, use it as your music phone. And this was a music phone, but my other phones were busy being used for something else. And I used the music phone, and I looked up a word on Wikipedia called trickster. And we clicked on trickster, and you just end up clicking and clicking and clicking, and you end up in ancient Greece, and you ended up in mythology, and you ended up talking about stock characters, and we were talking about Helen of Troy, and it just goes on until my eyes start to get very dry and I can't see anymore, and I get the stock characters in my head that talk to me by telepathy often call me uncle when I'm angry at them, and when I'm grumpy they call me grunkle. I'm not like a grandpa can be a grumpa if they're grumpy grandpa, but I'm an uncle and they call me grunkle. And that's all I want to tell you about today. I'm terribly sorry for you people on Instagram TV because you're missing out. And I always tell them nothing in particular because genuflecting, not too many people seem to subscribe. And then I disappear from view, which is probably pretty good because, if you have... I look at some people who have got, like 8 videos. And they might have 18,000 subscribers for 8 videos. And I go, are you serious? I'll never understand.